So these are one of the things that we always look for, these big rocks right where you want to turn. So you gotta make sure you turn wide. Watch that right car. You got it. Let's see if there's a rock by the next turn.
We're good. Permission to go aboard.
Thank you, Captain.
Sue and I really look forward to our travel days in the motorhome, and to help them be stress-free, we use RV Trip Wizard, and we talk about it a little bit in episode 141 there that you might want to check out. Here's a good shot of the experience inside the cab. You can see that I'm as relaxed as you can get with the Newmar Comfort Drive. Check out the hands on the steering wheel. I'm hardly moving it at all, and realize that I'm negotiating a turn while you were watching me there. Hopefully one of these days we'll have the camera on at the right time so I can show you the stability that having a tag axle gives you when trucks come the other way, but we'll have to wait for that. Right now, we just have windy roads that we have to deal with and these fun tunnels. We love travel days. Sue uses Google and the Open Roads app from the TSD Logistics fuel program that we belong to plan all of our bathroom breaks and to get out and stretch our legs. We, of course, use the fuel stations that participate in the program to get our discount, and sometimes we'll use even a pilot that is not a member if that's the only game in town, and fuel up, and the card will still work there. You will just not get a discount. We also use pilots simply as a bathroom break place and move on. So we have mentioned in the past that every once in a while a rest stop that you plan, in fact, will end up being a fail because it will be busy. But on this particular area of the country, we did not have any problems. Remember, always try to have a backup plan. You can see here that we're entering Gaffney, South Carolina, and this particular sign that I just pointed to there looks pretty obvious now coming down the road, but I can tell you that people are always warned not to miss that road because this particular service center just seems to be in a little bit of an odd location. If you're a newbie Class A driver, check out those yellow concrete bumper barriers in the back there, and make sure you look at our episode 177 so you're aware of the danger and damage those can do to your rig.
Wow, it's like perfect.
How's the mud flap doing?
Stop one.
you want the flap to go over this yellow bumper, or do you want the flap to be on the inside of the bumper?
I'll come out there. So we're really glad right away one of the subscribers recognized us and came out to greet us, because when we pulled in, we were immediately confused by his rig. But after we talked for a while, we see that he slightly rebadged his Winnebago to more genuinely reflect the fact that his name is Tom and Janie Prevost, pronounced with a T. We had a great time talking to them the couple of days we were there in the service center, and we hope to see them on the road someday in the future.
So when we leave here, we're actually going to be at National Indoor, and we want to make sure our tanks are empty and stuff. And we'll be here for 3 days, so Mark's eyeing up what he's going to do.
Technically, the red handle is for the naughty water.
Dirty water.
And the blue one is the good water.
Okay.
But you know what? I don't trust people.
No.
So we'll dump, but we ain't taking any water on here.
No. I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
You take it on at NIRB.
If you're interested in seeing what our maintenance, operating costs, and repair costs have been over the last 36 months to live full-time in an RV, why don't you request our free Excel spreadsheet to track your costs and craft your own plan? All you have to do is send me an email to the address on the screen here and put cost sheets in the subject line so I know what you're after. What are you doing back there, Sue?
Checking cabinets.
Why?
Closing up.
What?
So,
How are you supposed to sleep on this bed with all this junk in here?
I guess we don't sleep.
Yeah.
So the worst cabinet to be opened while this thing is moving are those medicine cabinets.
Oh, yeah.
And there are a couple times I almost forgot to make sure they're snapped. I mean, it's not like one thing like, oh, no, this fell off.
Yeah.
It's like 100 things scattered everywhere.
Yeah.
So just want to make sure, since we're getting up so darn early.
Yeah, but don't you usually have all of the stuff that's on this bed with this marital aid or whatever this is?
Oh, my God.
Oh, this is your trampoline. Okay. And then here's our fireboard here,
Yeah.
which we actually still use. Check out our video on why we have that. My desk chair to keep my back all in one spot, but that usually, most of that, except for the fireboard, is on the floor here.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you point out that rectangle there that they're going to be working through?
Usually this is totally covered with stuff, but not today.
Right.
Since they're doing some work back here, we have to get everything out. I kind of like it like this.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I don't like the bed like that, though.
So, Suzette, do you actually know what they're going to be doing on the rig in that rectangle?
Not really, Mark. Would you like to tell us?
Yes, here. Why don't you grab the camera? You'll notice that, thank God I'm slim. I'm able to get right through there.
And you have your suspenders and belt on.
Yeah.
You didn't lose your pants.
So I don't know how this guy is going to do this, or gal, but they're going to replace all my radiator hoses. Now, this is probably a good explanation of why our maintenance costs are high compared to everybody else. And that is because I'm choosing to not have an issue on the freeway where I have to pull over and have a problem like a radiator hose leak. You know, this is a 2014 Newbar Dutch Star, and that means that this thing was produced probably in about June of 2013. If you do the math, all my hoses are 8 years old. Now, they're cooking away back here in this doghouse enclosure back here, and I've read, you know, different people that have had hoses blow in the middle of nowhere, and it's just for whatever it's going to cost me, and I'll report what that is. I actually don't know what it is. But when they're all done, I'll tell you what the bad news is. We just recently had a failure while we were on the freeway. It was a code that was thrown on our dashboard that said our jacks were down. So on this busy freeway, was it I-75, honey?
Yeah, I think it was.
You know, not a lot of shoulder to pull over on, and I freaked out and I pulled over in an area that was pretty tight. And if I could do it over again and I get that jack failure, now I'm going to know that the jacks just came off the limit switch and it's tripped that. And then I have enough time to get to a safer area to pull over to figure out what's going to happen, or go through the process to bring up that little last half inch or whatever it drifted down. I know that now, but I didn't know it then. So this is what the thing looks like right before we fold it up. And
oh, I made it.
Yeah, hopefully the mechanic can get through there. We need a mechanic that's at least as slim as me. Then we're all ready. We'll pull off the electric cord outside, wind it up, and we're ready for the check. All right. Then use the patented drawer holding mechanism. Keeps the drawer from opening while we're driving. We're all set. This is full-time living at its finest in a luxury Newmar Dutch Star. So one of our pro tips to full-timers is that no matter where you're taking your rig to, make sure that at least one of you is always there, kind of standing around in the way, ready and willing to answer any questions and issues that come up during the repair. Here you see the wonderful lounge they have to be able to wait in, and one of the added bonuses is you get to meet people. We met Kathy and Craig here. We're going to actually hope to hook up with them later on during our stay here in Fort Myers.
Here I am in Zach's Cafe, a coffee shop in Gaffney, South Dakota, while Mark is back at Freightliner. And I've been sitting here for the last 2 mornings doing a lot of editing. It's a nice little place, fairly new. If you're in the area, check it out. It's really nice.
You could tell you're one of the unlucky people when this is the second day you've been in the service department. And you're the last one here. And they're still maybe cooking up your bill in there. And you're wondering, can I still afford to be an RVer?
Your damages, hon.
Well, what did I tell you? What did I guess at when we were $37.15?
You should pick up your credit card.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to let it cool off. Otherwise, I would have picked it up right away.
We're heading over to National Indoor RV Center. And we'll probably be there for probably about a week. So we have no full hookups, so we want to make sure that we will have full freshwater and empty tanks. Oh yeah, spraying the heck out of it.
You know, we've been RVing for 4 years, and we might have had to dump, other than our campground, maybe 3 times, you think?
Yeah, maybe 4.
Yeah. So
once a year, that's enough.
Yeah, if we're ever going to have a calamity, it's going to be like this. So first I'm doing the fresh water because I'm as clean as I'm ever going to get, because I took a really long shower yesterday to use up some of our water.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm using this side here because it's got a regulator built in, because God only knows what their pressure is here. So you can see that I had sea level gauges installed. We have a video on that. I can post up in the corner what that video is. But it allows me to press my fresh water. If I press it one time, you can see I have 25%. But then it disappears right away. And in that video, it talks about the position that the sensors are put on the tank. Not particularly accurate because the tanks have rounded bottoms. So for instance, when I'm totally empty black. I can literally be anywhere from 0 to 20% full. It doesn't register for the first 20%. The freshwater though is much more accurate. If I press it twice, it holds for 5 minutes, the setting, and you can see we went from 25 to 31% right here.
So that dot is what shows that it's on hold, huh?
That's correct. And if you
Okay.
look in here, Sue, you can see my water tank in the back, and that's the beauty of it. When you start doubting that, you're waiting forever to be at 100%, and all of a sudden you hit it 100%, you can kind of look in there and see how full it is. So that's pretty handy.
Oh, that is nice.
All right, so before I get dirty here, I'm going to get my rubber gloves and kind of get ready. Well, pretty soon when the water is full and I'm done with my clean jobs, I'm going to revert to the dirty jobs, which is flushing. But I can at least hook this hose up. I do keep track of which hose I use for my flush valve, just in case I would ever have any backflow here. There is a check valve in there, so that's not going to happen. But nonetheless, just one extra level of safety. I always only use my black indicator hoses for a black job. I do have a save a drop meter that checks the gallons that goes in here. Once again, one more level of safety to keep track of how much is going in there. If you have, for instance, a 45-gallon tank or a 42-gallon tank, you don't want to try to put 50 gallons in it. It'll come out the roof. I got this from one of our RV friends, Cyndi. Cyndi actually has a brand new channel. She's just starting out. So if you want to take a look and see how a person progresses from amateur YouTuber into a professional, that's the channel for you. She's doing a great job. I'll link that up in the link. You can see we're 60% right now. If we were at a place where people were all queued up in back of us, we certainly wouldn't be fooling around like this and taking all this time videotaping this. But we're in a repair facility. Literally, I don't think anybody's leaving today. They're staying for additional repairs that are going to be done. So far my gloves are surgically clean, so even though I'm using them touching my water stuff, they're still clean. Gotta keep track of what you're doing, you know. Brand new clean. Ew. I can do this.
Oh my God.
10 minutes from now, if I'm doing that, ew. I want comments down in the video.
Oh my God.
On the video that we took when we were in a panic on the road, and our jack indicator light went on that said our jacks had descended. In reality, on this jack assembly up in the top there, and I don't know if Sue will be able to see it. Actually, give me the camera, I can point to it. I think it's basically some of that wiring that's up there. Somewhere in the top of that cylinder is a mechanism, or is an electrical control that says, hey, this jack is up. And what happened is we were bouncing around and the system is old and maybe something's starting to go on me. This jack lowered ever so slightly and it tripped that switch and it said, hey, you better go look, you might be dragging your jack. Yeah. No, I wasn't. It was only down about a 1/4 inch or so and it came off the home position and then I had to bring it up. Let's see where our water's at. I was 80% last time I looked.
Oh my God, Mark, pay attention.
95%. Hey, honey, we could have got an overflow on camera if we would have done that, but we didn't. 95. See, and then I can look down there and I can see I'm about 1.25 inches off the top.
All right.
These valves here, I had these both replaced. We have these in our Amazon store. The valve here is kind of the de facto standard. See, we're at 100% right now. So I let it sit for maybe just a few seconds and then I'm going to turn this off. So now I'm going to turn it off. These valves here, they come in two versions. They come in a plastic handle and a metal handle. I always get the metal handle ones. I'm going to actually have these replaced again. They're just starting to leak a little bit. We're opening ours, 10 times a week, so they last a year.
Being full-time, they get a lot of use. All right.
So far, I'm still doing clean jobs, even though I got gloves on, ready to get soiled. Put as far away from the clean as I can, because I do not disconnect this hose. I do not want a quick disconnect fitting in here all the time and case it quick disconnects while we're in Walmart and fills my rig. So I have a solid connection there. And I don't want to undo that solid connection all the time because of the frequency in which we do that. So as much of a rigmarole this might look, to me, the long-term consequence of not having to worry about an issue of leaking, something blowing apart while I'm not there, it's easy enough to do. You'll see that took all of, what, 30 seconds. And then on the end here, because it's white water, I put a white cap on it.
You're so
all right.
organized.
So now we got our black hose hooked up. Look at that. I'm upside down and I even turned it the right way. I had a 50% chance of being right.
So you're using the same Y?
Yeah. Only because I want to pressure regulate. We were just at a campground that I was surprised they didn't make us sign something, but they kind of handed me something and they didn't even tell me to read it. I just happened to read it by chance, and it said you better use a regulator because we have 73 psi water pressure. That's really high. Most places don't have that, but what I will admit that when a place does have high pressure, it's always in the 70 to 100 range.
Really?
Yeah. Right now, it's back flushing to the black tank. So obviously everybody knows you got to have a Fifi. I can't operate without that. But we're going to ignore that. It's these wrenches. These wrenches, for somebody with grip issues like me and like most of America, you can't beat them. These are in our Amazon store. They're actually oil filter wrenches. But this particular style, exactly, if you go to our store, you'll get them so that they have the teeth just in the right spot, and you can rotate this stuff apart. And it just made my life so easy because my wrists literally sometimes, it looked like I was going to snap them off, you know.
All right, is that enough of the black now? Can I spare our audience the rest?
Yeah, but I got to be honest with you. If it splashes all over me, turn it on, and then we'll figure out if we're going to use it later. All right?
Oh my God.
Sue, I noticed you're kind of busy this morning here.
I am. I have a job.
Yeah. So, how are you liking the, the rather glamorous RV life? How's it fitting into your psyche?
This is the glamorous part of RVing. So I'm holding down the sewer pipe so it doesn't pop up. But if somebody would have told me like 10 years ago, you're going to be standing at a RV repair place, standing on a sewer hose so the icky water doesn't pop out, I would have said, what the heck are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, tell them what your pro tip is.
My pro tip is to, to stand on it hard.
Well, that's one. The pro tip, honey, is don't stand in the wet stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. When I drain my hoses, I usually go away from the area. We standardized on 0G hoses. It is so easy to wind these things up in such a small package. I would never go back to a regular hose. So we've been using these fittings here, these quick disconnect fittings, and I'm okay with replacing them every 9 months or so.
They get kind of calcified up, or what happens?
Yeah, they get full of calcium and different deposits. I think this time I'm gonna really research to get some lead-free brass ones. That might be actually something that you can't do because I'm pretty sure brass always has lead in it, but we'll see if I can find something like that. So this is our favorite hose because it can get so small and it keeps its shape. We had the Camco one that is kind of better looking and kind of brownish, nice tan, and kind of slinky, and it's soft and smooth. And you know what? I didn't like it because it was like a living animal that would inflate and snake and thrash around when it had a slug of water going through it. We went back to these Valterra ones. We actually did a video on that. We're still using them, we still like them, and I carry 4 sections of this so I can go 40 feet. So I have a collection of hose ends and connections and regulators that people leave behind, and a lot of times when they pull out, if I don't catch it right away, you know, sometimes I run after them. If I don't catch it, I take it off and I put it like on the picnic table next to me or them, so that if they come back they can see that it's there, so that the next person doesn't automatically steal it. But eventually I end up with a lot of them. Guess what? I would have donated one today. Sue caught the fact that I had forgotten to take this off. These channel locks that I use, I love these things. They're also in the Amazon store, and the reason I love them is they're so high quality. They're a German one. They're pretty expensive. I want to say they're maybe in the neighborhood of $30. Knipex. Knipex. Probably the best pipe fitter that we had at the place that I worked at. He's the guy that gave me a pair of these, and he said, he says 90% of the work that he does in the factory he does with this. So I standardized on it. Guess what? He was right.